Very cool. Hey guys. Hey, what's going on? It's Rick. I wanted to get a class in. I'm going to be busy all day tomorrow. And how's my lighting? Maybe I need a little brighter light. That's how you're supposed to light things up. Well, that's all I can get. So, with my fancy new little viewing window, I was hoping to bring to your mind this this idea of discovering. See, I don't even know where to look. Do I look up here? Is this where I'm supposed to look? 'Cause this thing is like in a weird place. Let me see how I can do this. But that's not cool either. Is this cool? How about there? Is that cool? Um, we're talking about this, being anointed or something like that. This idea of getting blessed, like getting this, bringing on God, balancing ourselves. Well, it's also like, to justify yourself. We know that justification can mean a lot of things, but it also means to straighten yourself out. And that is to bring mother in to balance out our, system, to balance out the cross. And one of the things that we get out of it is this knowledge. Okay. As I talk about it all the time. And we talk about it as, we know that in Corinthians, in Second Corinthians, Paul tells about the letter side of the Bible that kills us. That's how we link it up to, to religion. And because it's the letter, it's the law, it's the rule, it's the golden rules, whatever. And we find out what happens when you follow religion, and the beast, and father, stuff like that. But then one day you pulled out of this, after you've done your time. And one of the first things, see, that this is the fear of God. They say knowledge, for the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge, or knowledge is the beginning of the fear of God, something like that. And I have to explain this sometimes. I think I should do it now. I mean, like for my sister, PJ, somehow or another, she equates, being, like a born again, or I wouldn't call it, well, I guess you got to say born again. That's what the Bible calls it. But someone who connects with God and stuff like that is being smarter. And it's not really about that. It's about wise. And, maybe wise means you're smarter, but it's not really about that either. Ignorance only comes in, and if you're following father in the lower mind, it's meant for people to believe in, but it's really, it's a fairy tale. And so it becomes like, haha, look at what these kids are believing in. And it's meant to be done that way. But we're supposed to graduate out of this. And the whole point is, it's just like we're trying to find this place, how we can stop the pain. There's this place. That's where nirvana is. This is where what Buddha went through its business to look for peace of mind. Krishna looks for a peace of mind. Jesus looks for a peace of mind. That's what the whole idea of having a balanced mind means. It's peace on earth. How are you going to have a peace on earth outside unless you have some peace in here first, So if a bunch of people were to get together and get this peace of mind, they could change a good part of their little surroundings just through letting God operate through them as this light or this positive energy. That's all it is. So it doesn't mean you're smarter than anybody or anything like that, but this is what happens. I want you to follow me along here. This is in Luke. This Matthew too. They're almost identical. But it says here, but rather be choice written in heaven, in that our Jesus rejoiced in the Spirit and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and the prudent, and have revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for it is so seemed good in thy sight. This is number 21. 21 is about intervention, and this is where I would say that I got my wonderful ability to be able to read the Bible correctly and the code how to go about it. This is how I got it. They gave it to me. I'm this babe, or my soul was this babe thing that we were talking about. Is that it's not going to come to the most smartest people on earth. It's like, can you believe that guy was this guy? That this was the father, or he came from this place. That's how they were cutting down whoever it is. Oh, wasn't he? Isn't he the son of Mary from Bethlehem? Of course. And he says he's what from God. It's kind of funny to talk about it like that, but the whole idea behind it is that we are all this image, or this vision of God. It's a Christ, even. I mean, that we are all made to fit this image one day, to come out of it. All right. Yeah, so we catch hell for it, because I try to describe it or try to talk about it. It's just funny. It just falls on deaf ears, or I can't believe it, or let's, like the doubting Toms. I like how to see it to believe it. But what can you see? I can tell you things and you can't understand it. I can show you things on there and you can't see it. All right, so it says here, so number 22. 22 is, all things are delivered to me of my Father, and no man knoweth who the Son is but the Father. But the Father, and who the Father is but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. This is our seed in us. The seed is the Son of Man, and the Father is you and me. When are we going to figure this out? When we do, then we let our soul, we learn. Oh, now we learn, because the side of the Bible opened up to us that we can see. It's right there in front of my eyes. Just the way things are written and the way things are put together in numbers, that it tells me how to go inside and accomplish this task, and to persevere, to keep knocking on that door until somebody answers, and don't give up. This is what the story is about. It only takes one time. You don't have to keep doing this over and over and over again, but that one day what happens. You just know it. I know somewhere within the last 2 or 3 years of my videotapes, it's one of those somewhere in there says, Eureka, And so here it says here that, everything that we did was delivered to me by our Father. All right. And, they say that only Father knows the second coming, when that happens. That's because it's you. When you finally figure this out, when you finally get this little light, a little twinkle in your mind that gives you could this be the truth? Could this be what happens? You get this little inkling, and then you just go for it. There you go. That's where you have this faith. You say, wow, I'm going to go. I've been waiting forever. I can now get this over with. So, number 23, and he turned him unto his disciples. When he turned, that means he's going into meditation. When he turned, and he's turned to his disciples who are hanging out there in the midst with him, right? And said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. That is so cool, because it's just like the idea of, sparing the rod and spoil the child. Sparing the rod, it sounds like if you don't whip your child, if you do not beat your kid, if you don't discipline your child, he's going to get spoiled rotten and be an awful seed. So that's one side of the Bible. That's the side that's the letter side that kills you. But in just that one little saying alone, it's talking about our Kundalini system, that if you spare that rod, that backbone, what sustains us, This is where we're supposed to go and get our fruit, the vine. This is the meat. This is where we're supposed to drink the everlasting water, or the wine from Mother. This is the inside of us. This is the Kundalini. And if we don't even try to activate this, the child in us, our seed, will never get fed, will never be able to connect us to God, and literally dies inside of us as a dead seed in this dirty place, this place that Jesus says he'd like to pull us out of our graves. He's not talking about us. He's talking about our seed. He's talking about our souls. It's all about our souls, So this is what I hear when I hear things, and what I see when I see things. I can see things. I can hear it. I can look and say, "Oh my God, there's that same cadence I'm used to. Listening to some. That's the same. It's coming to the same conclusions." And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, "Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" He said unto him, "What is written in the law? How readest thou?" And he answered, said, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all the heart, all thy soul, and all thy strength, and all thy mind, and all thyself, and love your neighbor as yourself." And he said unto him, "Thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live." And he said unto him, "Thou hast answered right, then this do, and they shall live." But he said willingly to justify himself, said unto Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" But he said, let me see if I don't mess that up. But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" And Jesus answering him said, "A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, fell among the thieves, who stripped him of his raiment, and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead." Can you see the story? Jesus telling him a parable of what happens to him towards the end. But this parable isn't about him. It's about you. It's about me. It's about anyone who takes on this route. So Jesus said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem. This is when you fall from God and you're stripped of all your raiment. You're long working for somebody else. You've become a slave. And stripped of his raiment and wounded him, took away half your head. That's the idea that when you go and follow Father, and you have to do what the bitch says, that when you drink from her cup, you die. You're spiritually dead. So this is the desolation in the right side of the brain, the removal of Jerusalem from you, which causes an unbalanced house, leaving us only with Father and a captive soul. And it says here, and departed, leaving him half dead. All right? And by chance there came down a certain priest that way. Remember, I say you're also the priest in the story, right? Because the priest is the only one who's allowed to go into the temple. And when he saw him, he passed by on him on one side, and likewise a Levite was in that place, came and took him, and passed by on the other side. And a certain Samaritan, where he sojourned, came where he was. And when he saw him, he had compassion for him. And when he went to him, he bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, set him amongst his own beasts, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And in the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host. And he said unto him, take care of him. And whatever thou dost spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Now, this is the idea of you'll take care of him for now, And when he is done, when at the end of all this, I will repay you. This is the idea of you have to do something else first before you can get this other thing. So where do we get this here? Tomorrow, that is 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's a control number. 35, it's an 8. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out the 2 pences and gave them to the host and said unto him, take care of him. Now, this is fallen in just after the idea of being left as a half-brained person, left on the road, unable to move, an unclean soul. The people walked around because they couldn't touch him. They were on their way to the temple. This dead certain person is on the outside the temple. That's the person that's in meditation. He's wherever the carcass lays. That's him. That's the carcass. And it says here, it says number 36. So it's a 9, which is a conscious number. Let's see what it says. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was the neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, and he that shew mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do thou likewise. See, this guy's been asking him questions, trying to, well, what happens? How do I got to save myself? He says, well, do you know about the commandments are actually, honor mother and father, and that's what they were talking about is that with all your heart and all your mind, and then, your neighbor like yourself. Who's the neighbor? That's the one we're trying to bring in, the neighbor. That's going to be your seed. The neighbor is you're going to be your son. All right. Oh, it says on down, which came to pass. And let's see here. So he told them how to go about getting all this on. Now it came to pass is when they went their way that they entered into certain villages, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and said to the Lord, dost thou not care that my sister had left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she may help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. It's number 41. 41 is a 5. It's the human person, the body itself, the person. 42, 4, 2, 6. But the one thing is needful, and Mary has chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her. This is the ultimate gain of this connection with God, is that it can never be taken away. One side still got to, come on, will you make her help me? Will you make her stop serving you and get up and help me because I'm busy? This is this bottom part here, this Martha and Mary, was the very scripture that caused me to walk this path to find out what the hell that means. Those are 2 different sides of the mind. Martha, the busy one, is the lower mind. You can't help it. That's chronos. Work, 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 work. Work, 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 work. The other side, Jesus. It's down there, washing his feet with their tears, kissing and stuff like that. These same kind of stories, the same thing, She has chosen her side. She has chosen what she wants to do. And no one can take that from her. Do you see how beautiful that is? But it's really about the mind. It's always been about our mind. And yeah, so yeah, I hear things, I can see things, I'm crazy, because it's actually the words in this Bible here, they're not see-through or anything like that, but they mean things. And the number system right beside them, the exact number system that they go by themselves means something. I don't make any shit up. All I do is read it and tell you what the spiritual side means. And guys, that's a pretty cool thing. We'll do it again with another one of the other lessons that is talking about the very same thing. So, you get pissed off at me because I can see it and I can hear it, and you call me a devil because I go inside to find God. And then you say I worship myself because I think God, that I'm God. I can't, this is stupid. And to even think that I'm smarter than everybody else on earth because I'm connected to God, that's not, where's Jesus, you guys? That's not how it works. Like everybody running around trying to get scraps, fighting over little scraps of things like this. This is crazy. This is stupid. This is how you can do it. This is how you get over to the other side and do what I do. Do what I did. Do what I teach, what I show you. Do what the Bible tells you. Damn. Stop doing what you think. Erase your mind. Erase your mind. Go kill yourself as soon as possible. Do a damn good job at it so that you don't have to come back and do it again. All right. So I love you guys. I hope you're all well. All right. Got a long day tomorrow. This day ain't even over yet. All right. Best to see you. Best to you, that is. Dun, 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 dun.